Hello and welcome back to your Brainlight. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're diving into a concept that sounds simple, but can be incredibly challenging in practice: the power of no. Specifically, the phrase, no is a complete sentence. It's short, direct, and terrifying for many of us. Why is that? Why do we feel the need to explain, justify, and apologize when declining a request? Let's unpack that. We'll talk about where that urge comes from, why it's often misguided, and how embracing the full stop after no can be surprisingly liberating. Think about the last time you said no to something. I mean, a real, genuine no. Not a maybe later or a, I'll see if I can fit it in. How did it feel? Did you immediately feel the need to fill the silence with an explanation? Did you worry about hurting someone's feelings or being perceived as selfish? This is incredibly common. We're often conditioned, especially women, but really across the board, to be agreeable, to be helpful, to put others' needs before our own. And while empathy and consideration are definitely important, there's a difference between being a good person and being a doormat. Our brains, those wonderfully complex but sometimes misleading organs, are wired for social connection. From an evolutionary perspective, being part of a group meant survival. Rejection from the group, even a perceived threat of rejection, felt like a life or death situation. So, our brains evolved to prioritize maintaining social harmony, even if it meant sacrificing our own needs and desires. Saying yes became a survival mechanism. We get rewarded with social acceptance, avoiding conflict and the discomfort that comes with disappointing others. Now, flash forward to modern life. We're no longer battling saber-toothed tigers or scrambling for scarce resources. But that primal wiring is still there. Our brains still perceive the potential for social rejection as a threat, even if it's just a friend being mildly disappointed that you can't make their birthday party. So when someone asks us for something, our brains often jump straight to, how can I make this person happy? How can I avoid conflict? The thought of saying no triggers a cascade of anxieties. Will they be angry? Will they think I'm lazy? Will they stop liking me? And to soothe those anxieties, we tack on justifications, apologies, and elaborate explanations. But the truth is, you don't always owe anyone an explanation. Let's paint a picture. Imagine a coworker, let's call him Mark, always asks you to cover his shifts at the last minute. You're a reliable person, and you genuinely want to help, but Mark's requests are becoming increasingly frequent and disruptive to your own life. You're starting to resent him, and you're feeling burned out. One day, he calls again, pleading for you to cover his shift because he has a family emergency for the third time this month. Your immediate instinct is to say yes, to be the helpful, dependable coworker. But you know you need the rest, you have your own plans, and frankly, you're starting to suspect his emergencies are just excuses. So you take a deep breath and you say, no, I can't cover your shift. And then, silence. The urge to explain, to apologize, to offer alternatives washes over you. You want to say, I'm so sorry, but I have a really important appointment, even though you don't. You want to soften the blow, to make him feel better, to avoid his potential disappointment or anger. But you resist. You remember that no is a complete sentence. You stay silent. Now, Mark might be surprised, maybe even a little annoyed. He might try to guilt you, to pressure you, to make you feel responsible for his predicament. But you stand firm. You've set your boundary. You've honored your own needs. The key here is that your no is not about Mark. It's about you. It's about protecting your time, your energy, and your well-being. It's not about being mean or unhelpful. It's about recognizing your own limits and respecting them. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds great in theory, but what about the guilt? Ah, yes, the guilt. The ever-present companion of boundary setting. The guilt is that feeling that you're doing something wrong, that you're being selfish, that you're letting someone down. It's often rooted in those deeply ingrained beliefs about being agreeable and putting others first. The truth is, guilt is a normal emotion. It's a signal that we're potentially violating our own values or social norms. But just because you feel guilty doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It just means you're challenging those old patterns and beliefs. Think of it like this. Imagine you're wearing a pair of shoes that are 2 sizes too small. They pinch and squeeze your feet, making it painful to walk. You know you need to take them off, but you've worn them for so long that your feet have become accustomed to the discomfort. When you finally take them off, your feet will feel strange, even a little painful, as they adjust to the freedom. But that doesn't mean you should put the shoes back on. It just means you're experiencing the discomfort of change. Guilt is like that feeling in your feet. It's the discomfort of breaking free from old patterns. It's a sign that you're stretching and growing. And the more you practice setting boundaries, the less intense that guilt will become. It's like building a muscle. The first few times you lift a heavy weight, it's going to be tough. But with consistent effort, you'll get stronger, and the weight will feel lighter. So how do you actually start practicing this? No is a complete sentence thing. It starts with awareness. Pay attention to those situations where you feel the urge to over-explain or apologize when declining a request. Ask yourself why you feel that way. What are you afraid of? What beliefs are driving your behavior? Often, we embellish because we're operating from a place of fear. Fear of judgment, fear of conflict, fear of losing someone's approval. But consider this: if someone's affection or respect is contingent on you always saying yes to their requests, is that a relationship you truly want to maintain? The goal isn't to become a cold, heartless person who never helps anyone. It's about being intentional and selective about where you invest your time and energy. It's about prioritizing your own well-being and setting boundaries that protect your resources. Start small. Practice saying no to low-stakes requests. For example, maybe a colleague asks you to attend a meeting that you know will be a waste of your time. Instead of saying, "Oh, I'd love to, but I have this other thing," just say, "No, I won't be able to make it," and stop there. Resist the urge to explain. See what happens. You might be surprised to find that the world doesn't end. Your colleague might be slightly disappointed, but they'll likely move on, and you'll have reclaimed your time and energy. Another common pitfall is offering alternatives when you really just want to say no. This is a sneaky way we try to soften the blow, but it can actually backfire. Let's say a friend invites you to a party that you absolutely don't want to attend. Instead of simply saying, "No, thanks," you say, "I can't make it to the party, but maybe we can grab coffee next week." While this seems like a nice gesture, it can create an expectation that you're still willing to spend time with them, even though you're not interested in the original request. It can also lead to a cycle of negotiation and further requests. Suddenly, you're scheduling a coffee date out of obligation, even though you really just wanted to say no to the party. Sometimes offering alternatives is genuine and heartfelt, but often it's a way to avoid the discomfort of a direct no. So before you offer an alternative, ask yourself if you truly want to follow through. If the answer is no, then it's okay to simply decline the original request without offering anything else. Remember, no, thank you is a perfectly acceptable response. Now let's talk about dealing with pushback. Some people won't take no for an answer. They'll try to guilt you, pressure you, or manipulate you into changing your mind. This is where it's crucial to stand your ground and reinforce your boundaries. One helpful technique is called the broken record technique. This involves repeating your no calmly and firmly without getting drawn into an argument or explanation. For example, if someone keeps pressuring you to cover their shift, you can simply say, "I understand you're in a tough spot, but I'm not available to cover your shift." And then repeat that phrase as many times as necessary without adding any new information or justifications. The key is to be consistent and unemotional. Don't get defensive or try to argue your point. Just calmly and firmly repeat your boundary. This can be incredibly frustrating for the other person, but it's also a very effective way to protect your own needs. Another important point: you are not responsible for other people's reactions to your boundaries. They might be disappointed, angry, or even resentful. But that's their problem, not yours. You are only responsible for your own behavior. You can be kind and respectful in your delivery, but you are not obligated to manage their emotions. Ultimately, embracing the power of no is about self-respect and self-compassion. It's about recognizing that your needs are just as important as anyone else's. It's about honoring your own limits and setting boundaries that protect your well-being. It's not about being selfish or inconsiderate. It's about being honest with yourself and others. It's about creating a life that is aligned with your values and priorities. And the funny thing is, when you start saying no more often, you'll actually find that you have more energy and enthusiasm for the things you truly care about. You'll be less resentful and more present in your relationships. You'll be more authentic and more aligned with your true self. It's like decluttering your house. When you get rid of all the unnecessary stuff, you create space for the things you truly love and appreciate. Saying no is like decluttering your life. It creates space for the things that truly matter. So, as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a few practical takeaways. First, reflect on a situation where you recently struggled to say no. What were you afraid of? What beliefs were driving your behavior? Second, identify one small request that you can decline this week without offering an explanation or alternative. Practice saying no and observe how it feels. And finally, remember that setting boundaries is a process, not a destination. It's okay to stumble and make mistakes along the way. The important thing is to keep practicing and to keep honoring your own needs. No is a complete sentence. Embrace it, own it, and watch how it transforms your life. Thank you for joining me on Your Brain Lied. Until next time, take care of yourselves and remember to listen to your own inner wisdom. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.